Hey, welcome back to the Soul Pod. This is Stacy. Today I want to talk about how transforming your thoughts can transform your life. You ready? So we've all had this moment, like where you're I don't know, driving your car, you're in a grocery store, you're at work, whatever it is, and you have a passing thought about someone. Maybe there's someone in line at the grocery store and you think, how could they wear that in public? Or gosh, this person's rude and weird, and gosh, what a strange hairdo, or like whatever thought. And we do this all day long, like all day long, all day long. Like it comes and it goes and it flows through our minds and we don't even notice it. We don't, because it's constant. It's happening right now. Maybe you're having judgments about what I'm saying, or how the background looks, or whatever. It's all very normal. But when we recognize that we're doing it, we start paying attention to it, it can change a lot. You might be surprised exactly how much. The great Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. That's what we're talking about today. Knowing better, recognizing something that maybe we hadn't recognized before and using it as a point to grow rather than something that keeps us down. So going back to this concept of snap judgments and ideas, if we meet someone and we think, their car's a mess, it's just a thought, right? Well, no, it's not, because it's framed the way we see this person. It has given us the opportunity now to prejudge who this person is and put them in a box of who we think they are, which means, you know, because we are pattern recognizing machines as people and the way our brains work, we've now taken them, we've gone, this person is like that person. But who that person that we just compared them to, is that someone we even like? Now we've just put them in a category of someone we don't like. It's not being aware of that that drives us, leads us to do things that are unconscious, maybe oftentimes completely disregarding a person because of something that they didn't do, but that we filled in a blank and decided that we know who they are. Okay, I'm getting a little esoteric, but that's okay. We're going to come back around to this. Carl Jung, this ties into Carl Jung's thing. We're going to get a little bigger here. Hopefully you follow. This will be fun. Carl Jung talked a lot about the shadow self, and he said that everything that irritates us about others can also lead to an understanding of ourselves. Okay? It can lead to an understanding of ourselves. And the reason is the shadow self is we know we know our own nonsense. We know the things that we dislike about ourselves, things that we're ashamed of about ourselves, things that we're embarrassed about ourselves. More often than not, if you see something about someone that irritates you, if you pause and you ask yourself, do I have judgment around this? You may find that the thing that irritates them about you actually has more to do with you than it has to do with them. Think about that. So here's the exercise. This is where the rubber hits the road and you really start flexing your mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual muscles on this thing. When you catch someone, do this. This is good. Go out in public, and this is a hard exercise to do all day long because it takes so much focus because we're so reflexive about this. You go into a public place, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe you're getting coffee and you're sitting alone, and just watch your mind. Notice the thoughts you have when people walk by. Maybe write it down even, like to catch yourself and hold yourself accountable. You think the thought that you think, oh, what a stupid dress, oh, that looks terrible, or wow, they should comb their dog more, whatever it is. In that moment, pause and reflect, right? Notice the judgments that you're having about these people. And then ask yourself, do I judge myself too? Do I judge myself about this thing that I'm judging this person on? My guess would be that in the case of most of us, at least a third of the time, there's a piece of us we see in this person that we're judging. Not long ago, I was at a coffee shop, and it's where I do my writing. And I usually have this great window seat, and I saw someone walk by, and he was walking funny. He's an older guy, and he's kind of stooped, and and I noticed myself thinking, oh, this guy's torn up, man. He is a wreck, right? And then I immediately recognized the fact that I was projecting the fears I have about my own body as I'm getting older. You know, like an old lower back injury, an old knee injury, the way that it takes me a while to kind of get stretched in the morning and moving the way I want to move. That when I see someone else that reminds me of the fears I have about my own body, I judge them. And I do it because I'm really judging myself. The fear I have of getting older, the fear of my body not working the way it used to, of not being as young and be able to heal as fast as I used to. But it's only in recognizing that that moment went from me judging this person who was walking funny to understanding myself more deeply. And in that moment, I had more empathy for me. I dropped my judgment of him, and I had more empathy for this person, for the journey this person is on. So when I talk about this exercise and I talk about recognizing in other people the thing we judge about ourselves, it's not to slap you on the hand. It's not to give you an opportunity to tell yourself you're a bad person or that you're judgmental or you're an asshole or something. No, it's not about that. It's about recognizing this thing, which will lead you to something beautiful. Did I think that recognizing that I'm judging this the way this man walks would lead me to a greater level of empathy for myself? No, I didn't think about that. But when you do this exercise, what you might find is that when you do recognize yourself in other people and the people that you're judging, you will learn something about yourself. You may grow. You may find empathy for yourself. You may even find a drive to become stronger or change the way you are. But it doesn't have to involve any shame, just understanding, appreciation, empathy, self-respect. So do the exercise. Take a moment, sit, watch people, write down your thoughts. You may do it the first time and it may blow your mind when you realize exactly what is going on there. Because maybe more often than not, we do see ourselves in others, but certainly very frequently. Try this exercise. Tell me what you get out of it. If you have a reaction to it or something surprising that happens, share it in the show notes. If you've done this sort of exercise before, share that in the show notes too. And I ask you to do this not for me, but for the entire community, because you're not sharing with me, you're sharing it with anybody who happens to read it. And anything you share may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thanks for being here. Thanks for enjoying the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. That way you're sure to get a new video each time it pops up. I try to drop 1 to 2 videos a week, but I can't always make it happen depending on my schedule. This way, if you subscribe, you will get a notification that there's a little something wonderful in your inbox to check out. If you haven't checked out the Soul Podcast, check that out. I think you're going to like it. If you haven't seen that yet, also feel free to subscribe to that show and you'll get those when they come out. I'm dropping 1 episode a week. They're much like this, but much more expanded on the topics I'm talking about. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next video.